right, here we go. We're live.
I love how it always happens like this.
Should we just start singing?
And guess what? No
Happy birthday?
technical,
Here we are.
no technical difficulties today.
We did
Are we
actually
almost on
pretty
time?
good.
What time is it?
2 minutes late. We're 2 minutes.
That's
late.
good for
2
us.
minutes late.
I was running really late.
Yeah, I'm
compared
getting
to what I
better.
normally
We
do,
nailed
but
it.
What can I say?
Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. Welcome to a brand new podcast. We got a banger today, once again. But to start it off, more important news. It's the birthday of this man in front of me.
Hey!
Chewy's birthday today. He's
Yeah, happy
26
birthday to
today.
me. 26. 27.
27. I always get it wrong. I never know.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
It feels like I'm 27.
It feels good, right?
Yeah.
Feels really good. Everyone say happy
On my
birthday
toes
to the
today,
old,
yeah.
the old.
Thank you. Oh, what happened there?
I knew that was going to happen.
That's because it doesn't go there.
Well, where does it go?
It goes.
Good God. I didn't put it in. All right.
We'll figure it. We almost didn't have a difficulty.
Yeah,
And then
you just
Tara,
get-
Take
guys
that.
had
Take
to
that
say
off the
something.
bottom. Take it off the bottom.
take that plastic piece off.
Yeah. There you
Then
go.
Chewy.
Then there. Yeah. Then
Is it in?
Oh, I can't
You're
hear- I
good.
can't-
You're
can you-
good.
Can you guys hear me?
No.
No.
No, me neither.
is your mic
Here
on?
it all comes crashing down.
Is the on switch on?
You got.
There you go.
All right,
That was good. Holy cow! We
Almost no technical
we almost
difficulties
nailed
today.
it.
Jesus Christ.
It's been a couple weeks. Sorry, I've missed out.
All right.
But
He's out of practice.
it is Chewy's birthday. It is Wednesday, and last the podcast this year, mine was on my birthday was
yeah.
on one of
Both
these
our
too.
podcasts.
My
So
podcast
it's a-
was on a birthday.
Wednesday Schmensday, and it sounds like it's the podcast this year. We had a fantastic week.
That's it.
Yeah, I bought her a beer. Now look, she can't even. But Tara's gonna do the intro here. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
We have a good one today, guys. We have Corey Bechtold in the house, owner of Macula Tackle, and an avid fisherman, part of one of the championships at the ice fishing Dominion. Scott knows more about it than me, and
He's kind of all over the place.
he's all over. From what I hear, good guy. He isn't scared to talk.
No, he's not.
He makes nice jigs.
Yeah, but he has a cool hat.
What kind of
He was wearing
hat?
it earlier. I don't know where it went. But
We'll
yeah,
get
wearing it
we'll get
earlier.
Corey in here and have a little chat with him. See what he's up to. Hey, Corey.
What's going on, Corey?
How's it going, Corey?
Oh, hi.
I like the glasses.
Oh,
They're,
Love
they're
it.
kind of multicolored, you know.
Yeah,
Nice.
they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Brings out your eyes.
Yeah.
My
You can
eyes
really.
turning to pot every single day. Somebody turned 27 pretty soon. They're going to be stopping at the dollar store for cheaters too. Happy birthday. Welcome to the future club of crap eyesight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm getting
Chewy,
there.
Chewy, what does 27 mean in Spanish?
27.
27 años.
27.
No, what I'm asking, how old are you actually?
Yeah, how old are you actually, Chewy?
I am 45 years old today.
45?
45 years
You don't
old
look older
today.
than 35.
No.
45 years old today. Yep.
Damn, Chewy.
45.
Been doing good.
I
I like that. 45.
Yeah.
45.
He is old.
I'm old. I feel
Yeah.
old.
I like it.
Yeah, 45. Can't believe it.
All right, I want to hear you two jig makers go at it here.
Well, we had a pre-chat. I already know. Like, I could ask him, I can't ask him. But yeah. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
No.
How you got
Me?
started? How did you
How-
come up with the idea? Because this is a pretty cool jig. I should
Okay.
show one here real quick, just so that they get.
There's a bigger
There's
one.
one right there. Look at that.
Look at that. Boom.
Oh, look at that. There you go. That's it.
Giant model.
Hey,
Oh.
dude, I bet that goes well on the trade shows, huh?
Yes.
Better way to
Absolutely.
explain, I imagine.
So basically, what it was is, I'll try to do the short version if I can do the short version. So years before my eyesight turned to crap, I was fishing with my dad, and he was ice fishing, and he had a crappie. I was bringing it up the hole, and it wrapped around the transducer, and of course, panic. Rips, tries to bring this fish in and breaks the hook, and next thing you know, it's swearing, trying to dive down the hole, trying to catch his fish, and it didn't work out well. And it was just like a minute or two after, I kind of looked over my shoulder and he wasn't fishing. And he still had his bobber rod down because, of course, in Minnesota you got 2 lines. And literally I'm like, wait, why aren't you fishing? Using the Bechtold and jigging and actually catching fish. And he's like, well, I can't see to tie another jig, so why don't you just keep fishing? We're almost done anyways. And I'm like, well, give me your rod. So he gave me his rod. I tied a jig on for him because at that time my eyesight was good. And we finished up, and literally it was that night. I came home, cleaned fish, got things kind of put away. I laid down, was just about asleep, and I was like, why are eyes on jigs so small anyways? And I drew a shape, and you guys just posted it or showed it, and that was 100% the shape that I drew in my sleep. And what it was is I figured, well, there should be a large opening to make it easy to get your line through. So that was the number one reason for me, starting this little process, was just ease of getting your line through. But then I saw functionality in it after I made my first one, because I was like, yeah, I got my line through and everything's good, which took years. But you have the ability to make your jig horizontal, which I'm huge on. But if you move your knot, you can make the jig vertical. So basically you're getting 2 jigs in one. So I fish most of the time horizontal, set the hook on a fish, and you bring the fish up, and your knot's now here, which, if they're really switched on, might not matter. But, a simple pinch the jig, rotate the knot, and then you're back to horizontal, and then you're catching fish. So that was the whole concept behind Macula Tackle, and kind of where it really started. Oh, shoot. There's a bunch of knots there. Yeah. That was one of them showing people proof that, that's like 5 knots all on one rail. That's what I call my patented eye is the rail. So it's such a large opening. Number one, you get the line through. Of course, everybody who ties Palomar knots will really appreciate that. But being able to rotate your knot and give the fish the angle that they want is big. So that is Macula Tackle. And I see Spinning Wheel of Death. Were you guys talking while I was talking? Now you're back. You're back.
We were just full screening you.
Yeah, we want to make sure that they can see that.
Okay. All right.
That's
so
pretty
hopefully
cool.
I kind of laid the foundation as to kind of what we got cooking.
You have a phone case on your phone?
Yes.
Can you take it off?
No.
Oh,
All right. I'll hold it. Maybe this is better. Hopefully.
Oh, gosh.
That's,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
way
very
The
better.
audio
Better.
sounded like you
Yeah.
were in a tunnel. Now it's good.
It was in this here. This is my phone holder.
Oh, you were in a tunnel.
Well, that explains
Red
it.
green here.
That's why we couldn't hear you, because it's not on. You need to turn it on for us to hear you better.
It was literally in a tunnel.
Tunnel. The tube, yeah, the inside of 2-inch tape. It was duct tape, by the way, so that's a good thing.
That's funny.
Sorry. We try.
No.
We try.
No, you're good. You're good.
We were all thinking it, but I said it.
All right.
Well, I kept messing with my headphones because I thought something was wrong with them, and I was like, "What's going on?" They're all looking at me like I was going crazy here.
Yeah. What you got?
So where do you live?
I live in Big Lake, Minnesota. So
Okay.
kinda
Wow.
basically central Minnesota.
Yeah.
But one of the first times I tested my jigs on the ice, obviously, because that's kind of where they shine. So I thought, but then after the first season of actually running my jigs and, trying to build something, or actually at that point, I was trying to figure out the patent. I wasn't really doing much, but trying to, produce something. And then where do I go with this thing? And I guess anybody who is watching this or does watch this in the future, I'm just going to give you a public service announcement. Don't patent anything. unless you have a lawyer in your back pocket that can maybe go to bat for you.
Yeah.
The process is, it seems like it's evolving. It's constantly evolving.
Yes.
It's unreal. And then it's just an absolute money pit of money pits, which seems like it never ends. It's almost like almost like patent companies are like, hey, they're fishing too. They're
Yeah.
looking for the sucker to bite their crap, and next thing you know, they got you on the line. And then when they think they let you go, they just open the bail like Babe Winkleman filming a show, and you swim back down to the bottom, and then the cameraman starts again, and it's like, yeah, we got him again. And they reel you back up. It's that whole, it's like rinse and repeat all the time. It's like money, 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 poor, 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 money, money. So just, if you have an idea, go with it. When somebody copies you, at least you gave it a run, but
Yeah, I
hopefully
guess-
you made some money before.
Yeah, my advice is when you design something and you try it out and you think that's going to be it, mail it to yourself. Mail it to yourself. Make
I
sure
tried.
that it's sealed, and don't open it until if you ever go to court. They'll open it there. I mean, they can't. Once they seal it, I mean, no, you can't break that seal. Once you cut that off, then it's obviously they tampered with it. But other than that,
Yep.
it'll hold. I mean, I've done it
Yep.
for all my lures.
Okay, that was the first step that I ever did.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Someone's like, just write it all down and mail it to yourself and don't open it. And so after like 3 years of this envelope mailed to myself, I was like, well, where do I go now? so it was trying to push forward the whole time.
Yeah. And how long have you been making these lures?
Well, our website has been live for a little over a year. It was
Okay.
August of last year. We turned the website on after trying to build some inventory. We kind of had some things lined up with the patent. We kind of felt comfortable, like we can, obviously, my wife was the biggest fear monger in the family. She thought I needed to have like 100,000 of every shape, size, and color made, red package, ready to go, or we would have been dead in the water. In a way, it's been a little bit of a blessing that it's been a slow start, because I'm not in stores. I'm not on, I mean, social media is cool and everything, but I'm really starting to learn that social media is smoke and mirrors. I don't know. Maybe you guys will steer me wrong or tell me I'm full of it, but Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, all the avenues that you think you're out there. And just because somebody throws the good old doesn't mean they bought a damn thing.
That's
And
right.
I know a lot of people that do like bass jigs or plastics or something, and they're trying to pump some different stuff. And it's like, I had 182 likes. And it's like, good. How many sales did you get? 0.
Right.
Yeah, there's a fine line there. Being me and Tara both paid sponsored fishermen, and I mean those avenues can work, especially for sales. I mean, it just depends. I mean, I don't even know where the avenue is or where it isn't.
Yeah,
But
There's so
it just
many.
depends what it
Live
is,
streaming.
how much hype there is around it. I think is the biggest thing. When you get people that are big on TikTok using your product, that's bigger than promoting it yourself.
Yeah, that's when you'll see that's when you'll realize what social media does. But mostly when you're doing it yourself, it's more of just a connection between you and the people that do buy your product and connect with you.
Yep.
The rest of them that might follow you because they could be a friend of a friend or whatever. But really, what you're using those avenues to communicate with the people that do follow you, and that's what you do that.
And that's kind of what I've been trying to do with Macula, is kind of grow it. Would it be, what would the word be? More genuine, more like with that slow grow. It's like the first people that see it and they get the concept and they're like, oh my gosh, number one, where have these been my whole life? And number two, oh my God, they flat out work.
Yeah.
And then they reorder and then they tell a friend and then that friend buys some and then they, tell a friend, and just kind of growing it that way versus just, here we are, and I'm on a billboard, I'm on a TV commercial, and the Super Bowl's coming up, and I'll have that. I'll be like the High Life guy with that, 10-second commercial, or something like that. I'm trying to grow it like almost like the genuine way from the roots, like people that are going to grasp this and understand the concept, and that I poured my life has kind of been involved in these jigs, and it's 100% family, right now, other than my neighbor.
Yeah.
The neighbor kid. But yeah, my daughter does the website. My wife came up with the name. My son helps out when he can. My oldest daughter, her husband, does my CAD drawings and stuff for shapes and stuff. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I like that program.
yeah, definitely trying to grow this. And then again, when you get older, you start almost maybe looking at the finish line, and it's like, what am I going to leave my family, or something like that. And obviously not infinite wealth or anything like the Dayton family or or any other politician or anything like that, but maybe something that they can, if I grow it to a certain point, they can grasp onto it and grow it even more. And then it's something that's generational, and it goes to grandkids and great grandkids down the road. And it'll be like, hey, my God, this guy had one stupid idea and it launched. And the logo, which was a nightmare with arguing with my wife and my daughter about the logo and the name and everything, and just trying to grow something, and yeah, it's been a joyride so far.
I like him because it gives guys like me hope, because I stare into a bright light every day welding for a living.
Oh, man.
And my eyes are gonna go to hell at some point. So
Yeah, he keeps forgetting to put his face shield
I'll
down.
still. Oh,
I'm a
Usually-
nurse, and that triggers me.
Everybody who's ever welded anything in their entire life will tell you
Yeah,
about
no.
that one story. And I'm going to tell mine real quick, and you'll just be like, I can see you already. Before I even start the story, you're going to be tapping the table like, been there. And it's one of them odd angles, quarter panel, upside down, welding helmet, couldn't see by the time the damn auto darkening thing went or whatever. So it was like, screw it. You're just like, I'm just going to tack it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, just lightly kind of just get things going. And next thing you know, it's like middle of the night. You wake up screaming like, what in the hell's going on? Can't open your eyes, can't close your eyes, can't blink. Everything. It's like somebody just literally put lava in your eye sockets. And like and my wife woke up like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, help. I don't know. I couldn't go down the hallway. I couldn't.
Did you get blisters?
Yeah, I had arc burn. So through my eyelids, which apparently the SPF of your eyelids is like 2. The arc flash is enough that you sunburn your eyes. Woo! Not good. Do not recommend. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not fun.
No. But no, I can appreciate it because whenever my eyes do go bad, I can just run maculas constantly and
There
still
you
be
go.
able to tie my knots.
Wait,
What size?
how do you know your eyelids have an SPF of 2?
Well, I think it's like 2.5. I don't know. I checked out like a thing. I'm waiting for the answer from the FDA. Or yeah. whatever 3-letter abbreviation thing actually is involved with health. 2.5.
That's awesome.
And another PSA: don't rub sunscreen on your eyelids, because that shit is just going to end up in your eyes. That's all there's to it. Sweatproof? Nope.
Pro tip.
I've actually had it evaporate off my face from tacking whenever it's like I'm running hot enough. And like, I don't know what it is, but that causes your eyes to like burn later on too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I did. I was welding stainless steel. I don't know what happened, but I ended up with cucumbers in my eyes at night to help with the swollen. It just got swollen.
Potatoes,
It just got closed.
Potatoes?
starch in them.
I use
pulls the
cucumbers.
burnout.
That's what
Oh.
that's what I found on the internet. Then
Good old internet. Put potatoes on your eyes.
and that was just a dumb thing that I think I could tack, and
How long can you stare at the sun? You're at 10 seconds.
right away I knew I'd screwed myself. That was the stupidest thing I've ever done.
Anyways.
We'll get off the subject before we start getting turned on that at us. So Wolfram, they did have a good point. It's also the fastest way for your ideas to get sold, and it is true. And usually, you're not gonna. If somebody likes your idea, they're not gonna try to take it from the state you're in, but they'll probably take it from another state. And I've seen that happen. That's happened with me.
With what
so
now?
that's why stealing your idea.
Oh, yeah.
Social media, I imagine, as Wolfram was saying, is putting it on social media is also a great way to get your idea sold, which is the reason why I don't post any of my lures anymore on social media.
And if you don't have a patent, and then again, you have to go forward at some point, obviously. And having a patent was
You do.
what I thought was my safety net. And we don't want our ideas stolen. But I've also been told by my friends that have attorneys like waiting. They're like wolves, like, hey, give us something, and we'll just. So basically, once somebody steals your idea, and the guy who mentioned that from Wolfram Tackle or whatever, you sit back. If you have a patent and somebody steals your idea, you sit back for like a year or 2. And basically, if they continue to sell in the U.S. off of your patent, and that good lawyer goes after said company that stole your idea, you make more money there than you will ever doing tackle or rods or anything. Now, granted, the lawyer's going to make a lot, but you're also going to hopefully get a little bit extra money in your pocket. I've been told that many times. It's like, you know, you have a great idea and everything. You have a patent, cool. Once you're knocked off, right? So here's my little PSA to anybody trying to knock off Macula Tackle. Go for it, dude.
Do you mean Olsen Tackle?
What's
Oh
that?
my gosh.
Oh no, this is a story I haven't heard yet, but
Bending my Christmas respect for Corey. We have to get back out fishing again, bud.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. We got to
You're
give
for-
you
yeah.
the. I don't think there's any of your jigs down here. We better give you the address so we can give them a good old fashioned test run.
yeah, that's what's actually the funnest thing ever when I ever work a show or an event and people come up and they're, I guess I can try it, and it's like, try.
I
word
want to
drives
try
me
it.
nuts.
No, I
So,
guess I can.
I have tried 101 crankbaits from every company known to mankind, and of course, you end up with 4 that work that you have confidence in.
Yeah.
I should have a garage sale, all garage sales of all the crankbaits that have never worked, the baits that have never worked, the jigs with the spinners, with the things that have never worked, because the try word, right? Try.
You got to try it.
See that. I've tried it. My friends have tried it. My family have tried it. I've done like events with like the 4-H group. A bunch of kids go out on the ice and we show them around and I educate them. And once people grasp it, they're like, oh, they work. And the coolest thing is like, so the last like 4 years I've done this it's for the 4-H kids in Sherburne County. And we just pick a lake to go to. And then I do a seminar before we go. And it's so cool because, you know, you do a seminar, you usually read the crowd. And when you got younger kids and their attention span just like, ooh, a fly, you know, or they're not paying attention at all. But you can still see that there's some kids that are like going, they want that information. They really like, they're thriving on it. But then they don't know how to put it to use. And so then you go out on the ice and the kids kind of scrambling around and you put them under your wing and you bring them over. And I remember the one time, this one kid, I don't even remember his name, but like, I was like, okay, you know, oh, you just missed the fish. And most kids just sit there with their rod. And I'm like, just reel it in real quick. Okay. See how you're not moved a little bit. Let's just move that back and everything. Drop back down. Boom. Catches the fish. And he's like, it's exactly like you said in your seminar. I'm like, yeah, that's why you listen to seminars. That's why you listen to people that fish. So when people grasp the concept and understand it, it's super cool. Another story would be when my son was little. Now, my son is 21 now, but at the time when I had the concept and we had prototypes and we were out fishing, you know, every jig, you know, if it's not my jig and it's a traditional jig, even though you have an eyelet that's really small, where your knot is positioned on that eyelet really changes the angle of your bait in the water. And once you realize that there's some subtle little changes you can do to be productive. And my son knew it. And then we had our jigs. And I remember this, it was a teacher from St. Michael was like, I'm out on, you know, XYZ Lake. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. I think it's on the interwebs. You can find XYZ Lake. I'm joking. But anyways, he was like, I got fish. I'm out on this lake and they're lit up like a Christmas tree and I can't get them to bite or whatever. And we were on our way to the lake. And I'm like, yeah, we'll be there. We're like pulling up and we were coming around the road and I could see it. He's like, yeah, I got the blue Dodge or whatever. I'm like, yeah, we see you. Pulled out onto the ice and he comes walking up to me right away. He's like, yeah, I got all these holes out here. And like every hole is just loaded with fish and they just won't bite. And Cole was like 10 or 11. I think he was 10. I'm like, Cole, grabbed, you know, took his backslar, walks over, literally like has 3 fish on ice while I'm talking to Craig. And Craig's like, what the? And I'm like, well, and I was still getting my stuff ready. And so Craig goes over to Cole and Cole like hops to another hole. And he's like, well, what are you doing? And Cole drops down and catches a fish. And this is a 40-year-old man and has been fishing his whole life. And Cole catches a crappie right in front of him. And Cole moves the knot. And Craig's like, wait, what'd you do? Cole's like, I moved the knot. And he's like, what? And he's like, I'm making it horizontal. And this is a 10-year-old kid telling a 40-year-old guy who's fished his whole life how to catch fish. And he was like blown away. Like, I've never understood. Like, I would have never caught that. No, and it was super cool, feather in my son's cap to be able to be like, well, it seems obvious. Well, yeah, if you fish with your dad long enough, you're going to learn his habits and things. And again, it was education one-on-one.
And now, did you and your son fish the NAIFC last year?
No, no, I keep getting like suckered into these things. Because here's the deal. I don't want to take anything away from any tournament angler. I don't. But you have to, some people love that competitive side of things. They just love to line up and the adrenaline and the, and like, that's so-and-so, and I know that person, and that's, I went into my first, like, I think it was a Panfish Championship was one of the first things I ever did. And my partner, who had fished the NAIFC and had success and everything, he's like, that's so-and-so, and that's so-and-so, and these are all these names. And I'm like, I have no idea who these people are. And if they're so big, why haven't I heard of them? Because maybe I wasn't plugged into the tournament world. But to me, I just kind of look at it as it's no matter what you do when you line up to go ice fishing or in a boat or whatever, and you look and you get all this nerves and excitement about this tournament world, it's still you versus the fish. The only bad thing about a tournament is now you have 65, 70 other teams in front of you that maybe they got to the spot before you because they had a better launch order. Maybe they don't know how to fish it right, but they're on the spot that you want to fish. And now you're kind of doing this guessing like, well, if they pull out of there, they might leave me some scraps that I know I can pull in and catch. Well, if they weren't in your way, you just go out there and smash fish, and then you're like the hero. Yeah. So the tournament side is I have had not one. Well, take that back. My first open water tournament was in South Dakota for walleyes, and I had some nerves because I had no idea about the tournament world. And once I got over the big body of water, and I'll just outfish other people or try to. It's not that I'm God's gift to fishing, but I know what I can do in a spot versus what I watch other people do. And if they're catching fish, good for them. And if I can pull in behind them and maybe clean up the sloppy seconds and maybe one up a fish or two here and there, doesn't mean that I'm a better fisherman. It's just I figured something out and I put together a little bit of a pattern and away we went. So I've had some success in walleye tournaments, open water, ice fishing. The Panfish Championship last year. It's kind of a sob story. My partner just geeks out about tournaments and everything, and I'm like, I'm not driving from Big Lake to Chisago every day for 2 weeks straight to try to win $2,000. It's not cost effective, and I just look at half these guys in the NAIFC. And they're great people, like the dudes from Michigan, Shaban Rodriguez, and then the dudes from Nebraska, Hesse and Nadolski. They're staples now. I've learned who they were. I had no clue leading up to it. I'm like, who are these guys? Like they probably look at me like, who's this guy with crazy glasses, goofy hat? You learn who they are because they are successful. And what I've noticed now is if you in the ice fishing world. It's a double-edged sword, forward-facing sonar. We could go into depth for hours on this one. It's become like if you and your partner do not have it on your machine, and you go break down a lake. And I watched Hesse and Nadolski on Tulaby Lake or whatever the hell it was, way up in Timbuktu, Dave Genz's area, north of DL by like reservation area. Watching them break down that lake to me was impressive. But awesome. I also looked at it and went, that's expensive. Each snowmobile with each of them having live scope and, augers and batteries and Vexlars and rods.
It's expensive.
I looked at it and going, okay, number one, you drove all the way from Nebraska. Okay. And you had to stop for gas about 5 times or whatever it is up here. And then you go, okay, now I'm going to pre-fish and I'm going to stay at a hotel and I'm going to have food, even if I brought food. And part of me starting the tournament was like, I hope these guys do well because they might not be able to afford going back home.
Right.
You think with a sled like that, they're worried about gas money, buddy?
In a way, that's kind of where it's like, unless you're an elite fisherman, and there are There are elite fishermen. Am I one of them? I don't know. I don't care. It's always going to be me versus the fish. If someone's in my way or in a spot that I was like, oh, hey, you got there. Cool. I'm going to leave that to you. I'll go find my own fish somewhere else.
Yep.
But yeah, Frankie's last year was kind of cool. You know, they did a different format, which I guess they're going to scrap. So they did the top 10 teams advanced to day 2. So we made 7th place day 1, which I didn't think we were going to make it. And I had to go to my friend's wedding. Of course, what happens at a wedding with an open bar, and then you're like, God, I got to fish tomorrow. You try to curb yourself to be ready, and then you scramble. And then day 2 was a pull of a hat. It's like they had like 4 other lakes, and then it was like whoever pulled whatever, that was lake you're going to. So a lot of teams pre-fished it. And of course, we touched them a little bit, just looked, but we didn't really have true patterns. However, the lake that they had the day 2, like top 10 teams, and there you go, had a winter kill. It was a South Center.
Ooh.
It had a winter kill apparently a year or 2 beforehand. And when I pre-fished it, I unfortunately stumbled into one fish. It was 13.5 inches. And it kind of went like, okay, wait, are there a lot of these fish or what's going on here? So going into day 2, when I heard that was the lake, I'm like, well, I only have one fish over here.
No.
Maybe there's more. And we went there and we worked hard on it, but then you start looking at other teams and watching them with their live scopes and leapfrog each other. And, they're chasing a school that we didn't have it. We're fishing blind. We're fishing old school. We might as well have had jiggle sticks and freaking picks on the end, for the way we were really fishing. And, there was only one fish that I bumped where I thought that might have been it, but it could have been a bass too. There was not one big crappie brought in the whole thing. And
Wow.
It's weird to me going, I touched it. I have photos of it with my jig and a big ass plastic, because during pre-fish, I was so sick. Like, you wouldn't believe how I wanted to throw up on this lake.
Oh.
All the bluegills were like 4 to 6 inches, and the crappies were maybe topping out at 7 inches. And you were sick of catching them. It didn't matter where you went. They were there everywhere in the entire goddamn lake. That's all that was there. And it's like, well, how are you going to tournament fish against somebody else? I mean, there's no way to do this. And then I bumped one giant. So I had something to go off. And when you look at it, that one fish would have went from, we finished in 7th out of 10. But that one fish, and how tight the weights were, because everyone's catching the same size fish, that one fish puts us to first place. It's like one of them, like, oh, if only one more bite. Every tournament angler would do that. But again, it's fishing. It's fishing.
Yeah.
I still had a good time, and that's the whole my little spiel on tournament fishing.
I
Not
was
to take
following
away
you
from
whenever
people
you
that
were
tournament
out,
fish, but-
and I don't know, I enjoyed following you whenever you were doing it, because I was like, that's pretty cool.
Oh, were you out there too?
No, I was following you on your Facebook posts whenever you were out there.
Oh,
That was
okay.
after the Norfin meetup.
Oh yeah, yep. That was
Oh,
that was
yeah.
cool. That was super cool. And
Yeah,
I had never fished a crib in my life, dude. That was
I
like,
hadn't either. That was a lot of fun.
yeah.
Catfish and Crappie commented how he has no feeling in his hands. Number one, he's old as shit. That's mostly why.
Beer chewing.
But
Go after it.
says he has no
Lyle.
feeling in his hands, so those jigs would help him out. He says you have no clue.
Oh, I have a clue.
How big of what size jigs do you make?
So right now we have 3 sizes. A size 10, which is a 1/48 ounce. So I'm not tungsten, unfortunately, or fortunately, depend on how you fish. 1/48 ounce is a size 10. We have a size 8, which is a 1/32 ounce. And then we have a size 6, which is a 1/16 ounce. With we're growing from here. We have 4 sizes going to go up. So and then I'm going to design some shapes and obviously everything. And I can't remember which one of my pro panel back there is the tackle people, but we have some creations in the works. Let's say that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do some heavier hooks eventually.
Yes. Yep. I have. So when I finally came out with my size 6, which literally from our website was this past spring. And I have friends down in Florida, and obviously we still had ice. And I'm like, I'm not going to drop a size 6 down to try to catch a couple bluegills and crappies with our, bass and walleye and everything else closed. So my friends were like, come on down. And I'm like, okay. so I poured a few, and I had, I don't know, maybe 24 jigs in my little tackle thing, which going through security was like, you don't even know what you're going to, I literally thought, man, they're going to like put me up against the wall. Next thing you know, they're going to take my jigs. Like that's my whole reason for going to Florida. My freaking flight was like, because they didn't have, long story there. I somehow managed my way onto a Delta flight down to Florida. So I was only like 2 hours late for my buddies to pick me up. And you go out there and fishing in Florida is different. Especially if it's lakes in and around like Orlando or Central Florida. It's way different. They have like hydrilla. That's an interesting weed, but the fish really relate to edges. And I kind of went out there like, I want to put these on some. I hear Florida has big crappies, and I was like, yeah. And they were like, I couldn't keep the largemouth bass off the damn thing. It was like I was trying to downsize to get down to like the crappies, and my buddies that are all tournament bass guys were like, oh my God, you're just catching. And it's like, I don't know. It's just Macula Tackle or whatever.
Bass down there.
Oh my God, do they? Yeah. They have this is going to be like the people that watching from Minnesota. We have it good here. You have no idea how good we have it, because on average, we can go out on a day and have, even if you're not like spot on, you're going to have 2 to 3 pounders all the time. Florida, you go down there, you're going to have so many like 12 to 14 inch dinks, and then all of a sudden like a 7-8 pounder or bigger, or potential for bigger. But the amount of smalls down there gets annoying. It's weird to me. We hit like 8 different lakes, and then we brought my jigs out the inland, and we caught, I don't even know half the species that we caught, a little baby red, sea trout, snook,
Luke knows some of those.
sea bass, a pinfish, just like a whole gamut. My buddy was like, I want to see how many fish we can catch, how many different species we can catch on your jigs. And I was like, obviously they work down here too. So we're gonna try to grow, obviously, especially when I get bigger. And the big push is going to be to get to those saltwater or inland type guys. That's I think is where there's some serious money to be made. Hopefully. Eventually. And Brandon, this guy right now, that guy, when I got rerouted on my flight, right, I was like sitting at the terminal, and I was waiting to go up when they said, hey, we're boarding. And I had to go up and beg like the guy, like, hey, is it cool that I maybe do you have any open seat to let me on? So I'm waiting. And while I'm waiting, Brandon Nyquist comes up to me. He was going to like St. Louis or something. And he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what are you? I'm gonna try to hijack this plane real quick.
Oh, God.
Wait, that actually right there probably meant the FBI is hovering over my house right now. I said it that way. But yeah, so next thing you know, Brandon and I are talking and everything, and I'm like, small world, man. And somehow they let me on the flight, because the dude that was at the ticket gate, he's like, oh, where are you from? And Big Lake, and so I'm from Becker originally. I'm like, oh my God. And then small world, we know some people, and he let me on the flight, and I went to Florida and tested the size 6s.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Catch him and crappie. Luke is landing for punk.
He's not wrong.
Jeez.
You have good viewers. That's fun.
Oh, man.
So take us through your process at the beginning. So I know you spin cast, and you also use molds.
Yep. So originally, okay, and I don't want to go too far back and dive into the sob sorrow story about Macula, but ultimately, I have an idea, you have a concept, and I made my first mold out of Bondo. I do out of body kind of for a living. I want to get the hell out of it. I still do it. I do boat work. I got to go work on an airplane tomorrow. I do a bunch of stuff. So, when you work in the trades, whether you're a welder or construction guy or whatever, we're like the red green of whatever we do. We can figure it out. And so I dabbled with everything. So my first jigs ever were, I took like a long shaft eagle claw hook, which is a softer wire, and I
Mhm.
would kind of bend it around just to kind of give me the shape. And my first jigs were actually made from plastic filler. So not heavy, not going to get you down, but it actually was a shape on the hook. And so I kind of, I had this idea and everything, but then a friend of mine who works for a tackle company, I'm not going to name them, they were looking to get into the tackle industry, and they're like, well, why would anybody buy this company's jig when they could buy all these other companies that are out there in the world already? And he knew I had this concept, and that company approached me, and they were like, we want it, we want in. And I'm like, great. And that was when I was working on the patent process and everything, and we were moving forward with the patent process, which again is constantly evolving, constantly. And then they started to run into some roadblocks with getting hooks made, because this is a custom hook. The whole thing is a custom hook. And unfortunately, in the United States, unless somebody in the pro panel can tell me somebody that makes hooks in the U.S. that's cost effective, there might be companies based in the U.S., but all their hooks are made overseas.
Yeah.
And we started to run into a hang up with minimum. It's called MOQ, minimum order quantity. So for said company to make a custom hook, where they want to just, if we're going to turn on a machine or make hooks, we're going to make 1 million of them, and whatever. But if you want it to be exclusive to said company, the minimum order is 100,000. So that company, when it to make a custom hook, it was going to be like, wow, that's like 30 cents a hook, and the minimum order is 100,000. And then with 2-3 sizes, they're like, we don't even know if this is going to sell. And so there was a little stretch where they were in, and then they backed out. And then I went to a couple other companies, and they were interested and then not interested, because I'm starting to learn a lot about this tackle world.
Mhm.
And then it was like, I have ties with Vexlar, and they're like, they knew I was like hand bending some hooks just to have something. And then I started pinching lead on them because I didn't know the first thing about molding. You guys mentioned spin cast or do it molds or whatever. I didn't know the first thing about it, but I just knew I needed my hook worked. I just needed to get it down to the fish. So I was taking non-removable lead split shot and just pinching it on, and painting them, and then you couldn't see the seam really that well, but it was I got to test it, and they worked. And then Vexlar's like, well, we can get you hooks. And I'm like, really? So we kind of went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Next thing you know, what right now on the 2 sizes other than the 6 were the original runs. Got the original runs rolling, pinching lead on, but I didn't know the first thing about. I didn't know anything. And some of you may have heard of Drake Hurd up in Alexandria. He's got a tackle company.
Yep.
So he was, this other company kind of pointed me his way that he could maybe help me get these done. And so I went up there, and he kind of was like, what do you got or whatever. But when he saw him, he was like, can I invest in these? Can I get these? Can you reach out to your company? I want these for walleyes, because he's a walleye tournament guy. And I'm like, well, that kind of freaked me out in a way, because I'm like, I barely got these hooks in the last like 7 years, while the patent was in process to get done. And then, so he spun some for me. I didn't know the first thing about it, but I, gave him some money, and some dude made a spin cast mold for him, but they weren't perfect. And I didn't know the first thing. I was spin cast mold, do it mold. I don't know. I knew nothing, zero, this much about the tackle world, other than I was just elated to have a hook, so we'll just put some stuff on it. So I was trying to like order bulk pinched on like little split shot, thinking I'm going to do it myself. And then Drake made some, and but it was like almost like I could tell, he's a good dude, and but it was almost like a nuisance to him, because it was like, well, I'm, hey, I need, 5,000 of these done. And he's like, well, I'm not doing lead this week. I'm doing something else. And because he does some stuff for other companies as well. And, and it just was like this time crunch to get anything done. It's like, I need to do this myself. Well, I started to have some done and made, and started fishing them. And then me and my wife fished a tournament on the Horseshoe Chain. They used to have this tournament. It was called the Heart of the Lakes tournament. So you could fish any species you want. And it was a fun tournament because there was no stress, because if like you could randomly catch something and bring it in and have a chance to win something. But in years, I had learned a lot. I'm still learning. If I ever claim to know it all, any one of you people right there can come and punch me in the face and say, you said you knew it all, I'd punch you in the face, because it won't ever happen. I will never stop learning about fishing. But I figured out some patterns for post-spawn crappies. Post-spawn. My God, I messaged Doug Stange, like, can you do a show about what the hell happens after the spawn? Because it seems like it's an absolute, like, nothing happens for like 3 weeks. And this tournament, unfortunately, always fell on post-spawn. And I figured them out. I'm not going to give away my secret. Well, I will if you ask, but I'm not going to make you ask. But we did really well, and we crushed it. And then a friend of mine who was with said tackle company from before, we cleaned up on crappies. I just don't even enter the bluegill division because you're trying to win by hundreds of an ounce. And we actually still placed in catfish too, which was all on panfish gear, my jigs. And after the tournament, my friend was like, dude, he's like, I wanted to catch catfish because we couldn't catch bass, and he knows the lake. And he's like, we had cut suckers, and we had livers and crawlers and everything like a catfisher person would probably think they need to catch them. And I'm like, dude, we couldn't keep them off. And he's like, well, you got a spot? I want my wife to catch one. I'm like, a spot on the horseshoe chain for catfish? That's like off the dock. You can go anywhere. And I'm like, well, we'll just, after the tournament, we'll roll him to one of my areas and we'll just do it. We went out there and like immediately his wife had one on, like immediately. And he brings it in, and then, they're scrambling, taking pictures. She's freaking out about this catfish. And it was a good fish, probably pushing 5 to 8 pounds, good big one for the chain. And then he went to unhook it, and he's like, dude, that's your jig. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you got these? And I'm like, yeah, I'm working on it, and he's like, we got to get you back. So I went back to his company and worked on it for another 2.5 years. And then unfortunately some little virus came over from China, and my world changed, literally. It was, we can't get this done because again, it turned into, number crunching, game, custom, and to do this and now this, and and so they kind of reluctantly just kind of like, hey, good luck, but we got it, we're passing. And I'm like, oh. And you want to talk about a gut kick of all gut kicks? That was it. Aww. Like literally hands, head in hands, just what do you do? And I've, now I have a patent, I have a certificate, and I have a piece of paper with no real good way to go. And it was one of them, like, well, what do I do with this? And it's kind of like sitting around talking with the family, and it's like, do we just give up? Are we done? Or someone else maybe down the road takes over, but we can't. Where do we invest? I mean, we got some hooks, but we're not making anything. We're not molding anything. I felt completely dead in the water, like back to square one. And my daughter Brooke, she said to me, she's like, I honestly went, and she's been fishing with me since she's been a baby, and she's like 24 now. And she's like, I wouldn't know how to fish anybody else's jig other than ours. And right then, that was my man up, suck it up, find a way. And I was like, I guess I don't want to show my kids I give up on something, and they know it. I'm all in. The cards. Yeah. I had a hand. It was dealt to me, and whether it's Texas Hold'em or whatever, someone might have a better hand because they got deeper pockets than I do. But I'm all in. They're all in. I went all in. A friend of mine, his dad. I did some CAD drawings and stuff, and I didn't have a spin cast mold. I had. They made a mold. Do it mold. And I'm out in my shed trying to pinch hooks and get them all in there and pouring, about 6 or 7 at a time. Cause sometimes the obvious, I'm learning. I learned today. about this. There's lead and there's good lead and there's bad lead and you got to clean the lead and there's too hot a lead, there's too cold a lead, there's outside environment, barometric pressure, moon phase. I guess apparently Jupiter and Uranus being closest to the Earth change how lead pours.
It does. Yeah.
And again, you guys are nodding, and I'm just learning this. So you probably, when we're done with this, you're all my friends, and I'm going to be calling you now. But I just poured. God, I was like, my hands hurt for like weeks because I was pouring, and it's like, well, now I got to paint. Okay, that's another step. Oh God!
Yeah.
Powder paint. Do you do powder beds? Do you just open the jar to do with things? And then that's super slow. And then obviously, with my auto body background, I have paint guns, and I'm not afraid to use them. So I'm like, I'm gonna tape these all on sticks. And I've done live videos, and I've shown it. And actually, Drake Hurd actually kind of grasped, kind of like, hey, dude, that kind of makes sense. You can do it a little faster than one at a time, or however the heck he was doing it. I don't even care if it helps somebody else. It helps you. If people laugh at me about the way I do things, and I know there's probably a better way. It's going to cost me more money though, and I ain't got it right now.
Yep.
And so I have my way of painting things. If it's right or wrong, I don't know. I literally take what I do and I go out on a lake and I put it in front of fish, test them, and if I bang it off of docks and rocks and the paint doesn't hold up, I pick a different clear coat, or maybe I do a different undercoat. Or my biggest hang up right now is glow paint. So somebody please help.
So I'm going to show this real quick here.
We're going to show some of your jigs here. We're running out of time. So.
Oh shoot! I didn't know I had a timeline.
So this is so. Are your jig holders for your painting? Is that just tape onto a piece of wood, or?
It's
what that is?
We destroyed we had to redo the daughter's bathroom downstairs, and that was the old shower stall. But yes, taped down.
Yeah.
Paint, trying to get it all the way around it, and dabbing the eyes. And I know there's a machine. Everyone telling me this machine, but it's like $800, and it's like toothpick. You got it right there.
Right.
And,
That's right. You know what?
That's an empty 20-ounce bottle of Dr. Pepper right there. So
yes, and that's why I wanted to show this, because I still do this, by the way, on my spinner baits. I still dot the eyes, and that's how I learned how to do it. That's the old school way. That's the best way, and it's still done today with crankbaits and everything.
Okay.
So
I'm not dumb.
No. It beats using 3D ice. It's an extra cost that you don't need.
Yes.
Unless it's more of a show. It's not really gonna help your jigs much.
And by the way, that black is Dodge's PXR. So it's got Zerillic pearl in it. It's a purple and a green flake in it. You can't see it, but I do have photos. If you dig way back into my world, you will see like a close-up, zoomed up in the sun, black.
And show a couple of jigs there.
Whether it matters or not, I don't know. But if it adds one extra thing that nobody else has, I guess I have to go for it and think it works better. Bubble gum in the dish.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that color.
That's Tim's truck. That's a Chevy truck color. I painted my friend's truck a few times, and I had leftover paint, and so that's Tim's
love
truck.
it.
Yeah. My daughter refuses to name that color Tim's truck on her website, and I'm like, it's a good story.
Yeah, you got it. I like it.
Hot pink, that's fluorescent. That's a SEM product. It's $160 a 16-ounce bottle, but you have to reduce it.
Yeah.
So that goes over white. And Wonder Bread.
Oh, there we go. I like the
eyes are
clown.
spinning. Yeah, that's tough.
And I showed that one already.
That's the black, the Dodge PXR with a bunch of knots on it.
Oh, you got some pictures there.
That black one would be a good fall jig around here.
Yep.
That's a nice bass.
Yep, that's local too. It's
Corby Hammer's bass up there.
I was just trying to get some fish for photos. Yeah, hybrids. Oh, love hybrids.
Look at that.
Yeah,
I love those hybrids.
And that was during a thunderstorm that went through, and of course we had that in the background. It was a super cool photo.
That's awesome.
Hey, there's that guy. There's other people that have pictures with my jigs too, but they're slowly climbing out of the woodwork. That's up north. That was no, that was last year. Yep. That was at the Hardwater Expo, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, that was cool. That's a story. That's like part 2 of Macula Tackle guy on your show.
Thank you,
Get
man.
there.
All right, we'll have him on next.
Look at that. There you go, Tara.
Bully.
Tara always
Bullheads.
has a battle catching bullies before going out in the tournament.
Yep.
I don't know what jig to
Aw.
use.
It's
I
true.
saw like your panel. I saw a lot of catfish stuff, and I'm like, oh, they're my people too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Smalley.
We'll use
my
your
God.
jigs to catch bait for our catfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, my size 6, and again on beds, just freaking smashed them. And that was late
Oh, I
ice
love
last
that
year.
picture.
And oh my
Right?
God, did
It's nice.
bubblegum crush it?
Yeah, that is such a cool picture.
Yeah, that
Yes.
bubble gum looks sweet.
Yeah, and I tweak it every once in a while because I can. And I paint them pink, and it looks so bland. And I'm like, I need something that gives it bounce in the sun. So I over reduce a silver, and you add blending additive, that's like a clear blender, and then you dust it over the top so it looks like that frost. Or like when you open like bubble gum, when you get a piece of bubble gum and you open the wrapper, it has that powdery look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's bubblegum in Macula Tackle.
I like it.
I love that.
So do you do your own spin casting though?
Yes, I am. I just finally I cut gates in my size 8 because I'm trying to ramp up production, because I do have tackle shops kind of reaching out to me like, hey, we'd love to get you in here. We'd love to do this. We love to, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm not there yet. I mean, great, it's awesome to hear, but if I can't produce it quickly, how can I be in a store? So Spincast was I still owe a dude a little bit of money for the vulcanizer, which was my last piece, and my first Spincast was a complete fail. And I finally made it. I got it right the second time, and we're pouring now. But again, the lunar eclipse, the gravity pull from the earth and everything, and trying to get them to pour perfectly every time. It's a process, and I know like there's a couple of you in the panel that would be like, "Yep, been there." All of a sudden, you're like, "Yeah, I got a perfect pour." There's 35, 40. You're just ramping them up, and next thing you know, it's like, "Wait, why did I only get 2?"
Too. Yeah. I've been there.
Like, God dang, is that ever a time kill?
Yeah, the one thing the one advice I would give is don't mess with your molds just because you got a bad pour. It's not your mold.
That's what I did the first time.
If you get a good cast the first time, then it's absolutely nothing wrong with your mold. And
Cutting the gates is stressful.
Yeah.
Cutting gates is the most stressful point of anything in the mold making process. My God, I'm like, I bought one of these like mega magnifying light on top little like space alien like thing to try to cut it, and I was shaking like crazy cutting the gates because I'm like, don't screw it up again.
They're expensive too. I mean, you got a vulcanizer, so you make your own, so that's pretty cool. I mean, it's different. I don't make my own molds. I have a guy, Bugman, does my molds, but I've gone through the process with him, and he's explained it to me. But the one thing that I learned is do not mess with your molds if you got a couple good pours. It could be your lead, it could be the room temperature, it could be all that. It could be Jupiter and Venus. It could be all that.
That's crazy.
Absolutely can't.
Yep, you gotta, or put a little talcum powder on before you pour it, or
that helps the flow
and your heat, or up your RPMs on your spin cast machine, or lower your pressure, or stand on 1 foot.
Oh, you'll dial it in, buddy. Come on.
Or try an amber next time, or literally, you become a superstitious person when you start making tackle. Not fishing it.
You're all in. You'll dial that in. We got faith in you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It's been awesome. I'm sorry I'm a talker. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. This is awesome.
We enjoy it.
It's good. It's good. We like the river talk, but I like the lure talk too, and this is pretty entertaining for me. I know Luke's excited.
Yeah,
my favorite.
So if you guys ever need me to come back on a second time and actually full on talk fishing, start to finish, then we can leave the tackle talk.
But you could come and ice fish
wear
with
a hat.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you can come down.
Where do we go to buy some of your lures?
Maculatackle.com. And,
there you go.
So we're on I'm trying to get some. I don't understand Instagram. I told
if I order them today, how long is it going to be to get them?
3 days.
All right.
I saw Mark, my buddy Mark in Illinois ordered some while we were on here.
Yeah.
So
Do you have any prototypes of any of your larger like quarter ounce? Are you going quarter half, 3/8?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're going full on up, man. We're going way big, but those hooks right now are in process, like CAD drawing, shaping, samples. Samples should be. I don't think I'm gonna see samples until November.
And
If
then
you give me like a 3/8, I can run a prototype and I'll get you some pictures of some nice walleyes.
He's good. He's a good field staffer.
I'm
Yeah.
dead serious. I'm
And
not looking
fishes.
for a field staff. I just
He's the
like
only.
you.
He's one. Well, I got a couple field staffers, but he's the only field staffer that will show up an hour after he leaves from wherever he went and come back and say, "This isn't working. What am I doing wrong?" And then we have to fix it, and we send him back out until he gets it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
When,
cool.
when did that ever happen?
Looks
I
like
can
I
see
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pro staffs on Macula Tackle's page right now.
Hey.
Yeah, we're starting
Hey,
to-
whatever we gotta do, buddy, we'll support you.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
awesome. It's coming. It's coming. Everything. And anybody who follows Macula Tackle, we will be at Ramsey for the Adrenaline Show. We will be at Hardwater Expo. Hopefully,
Awesome.
don't get COVID this time. We will be at St. Paul, which, oh my God, I pray to God I can even break even at that show.
Yeah.
We'll be up at Arrowhead in Duluth. And I'm contemplating going to Fargo, except for my oldest daughter is pregnant, due in January, and it's getting TikTok time, and I don't want to inconvene them and do a show and be around and have her all of a sudden, because I will be a first-time grandpa. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, you
Sweet.
can't miss that.
Yeah.
yeah. So I might have to skip that show.
Yeah, that's a lot on the schedule.
Well, if you're bored next weekend, we're all going down to Kansas City for
Yay.
Catfish Conference.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm doing a raffle for people that get to ride on the motorcycle with Luke.
Oh.
Sidecar with Luke.
Sidecar with Luke, yeah.
No, it's a little Honda
No, it's a little
Grom.
Honda. Yeah, you're gonna have to
Yeah,
hug Luke.
yeah.
That ride's over.
But
All I can picture is like Dumb and Dumber on the scooter. Right?
That's what it is.
Exactly what it looks
That's
like.
exactly what it
They're
was.
making fun of me for a past experience I had.
I'm not making fun. I'm excited.
I think Dan was jealous I got to do it.
With Chris.
Yeah, I bet actually.
Let's not make this weird. I gotta meet that guy first.
He's just as nice as you think.
Well, thanks for joining us. Luke.
Yeah, we appreciate
I'm
you
sorry to
coming
be so
on.
long-winded, but we can do it again next time. But
We sure.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll bring you back on.
follow
You're
me
close
on,
enough. You can come in.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You can come in.
How far is Big Lake?
It's not that
It's
far.
like an hour.
You're like an hour and a half away.
It'd be nice if you can come down and then do the show, and then we can get out there, or you guys
Yeah.
can get out there the day, that during the day, take
Yeah.
them out, fish in the
Yeah.
ice. Yeah, we'll think of something.
Fun.
That'd be awesome. It'd be nice to have you here at the store.
It is
Yeah.
decided.
Uh,
Awesome,
We'll,
guys.
we'll
Thanks for
leave your
having me. I appreciate it.
we'll leave
Yeah.
your information in the description of the video so everyone can figure out where to go and get in touch with your
I can't
stuff,
hide.
so.
I can't hide.
Hopefully it blows up for you.
yeah.
It's gonna. I have to be ready for when it blows up. It's not hopefully. It's just
Yeah.
when. So
When.
Yeah.
we're there. All
Oh
right.
boy.
Alright.
Good
Thanks for
luck,
joining
guys.
us, Corey.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Have a great
Yeah.
day.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Take
See
care.
ya.
Bye.
He's got some good energy.
I
Yeah,
really
this
like
guy's
that
awesome.
bubble gum.
He is fun to fish.
The bubble
with
gun
on
and the
the
Wonder
ice.
Bird, that's pretty cool. Wonder Bird's kind of, but on that lure, the way you can change presentations, I will.
I
try
like
the
it.
I
Wonder
like
Bird.
that.
I like the black.
The glow.
Well, the black this time here.
Black's nice.
No, Luke likes milk. Milky white.
Shut up.
What was that color?
Shut up.
Milk.
What was that color? The maroon color. What was that color? I couldn't really tell.
Oh,
what it-
someone's truck.
Tim's truck.
Tim's truck.
Tim's truck color. I want to try that one.
Dude, I love
It
that.
kind of looked like maroon. At first, I thought it was like
Actually-
copper.
You want to do dance truck? Because I could use a little touching up. That'd be a nice white.
You need more than the touch up in that truck, bro.
Oh no.
So anyhow, we're at Catfish Conference next week. I'm excited.
And I got a video coming out for that too.
Yeah.
Talking about it a little bit. We
Yeah.
recorded that today.
Did you?
We
Thought
did.
it was a
Can't wait to
7.
see it.
No, we just did a little 8K record, Zoom, a little bokeh in the back. Tara really did the director's view there and really got in there.
Nobody. Does anyone here know what bokeh is?
No.
Yeah.
Forward focus, rear blur.
So basically, Luke on Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Catfish Conference next week, Kansas City, Missouri, October 7th
We'll be
and
there.
8th, 2022. We,
This
the whole
table
crew.
This table will be
This
there.
table will be there, nice and black, and whatever else we're gonna
Yeah.
do to it.
We're gonna do stuff
What?
to it.
You're gonna
Gross.
spray paint a perfectly good table.
That's what I was wondering.
I want it black. I don't like this
Yeah.
color.
Why?
This is too garage
Then we're gonna have
sale.
people
Listen to
sign
you
it. I mean, we're
guys.
gonna have to bring Katie back so she can sign it again.
Yeah.
She does have to come back to sign
Yeah.
it. I'm actually sad.
We should just build a nicer. No, we can't because
We do have we have a table over there that we can probably cut it and make it.
You got a
foldable. It's
carpenter
lot
in here. We
better.
can just have it fold down.
That's true.
You know what we did?
Just
We
make
did
it
bring that up
lower.
earlier.
Got this.
We could just raise it up
Yeah,
and
make it
lower it
lower.
down.
We could
hopefully
put
it'll
all the
fall on
jigs on
customer or
hooks, so when
something.
we fold it down, the jigs will all stay there, and then we'll pop them back up.
Y'all are getting
But guys, we
carried away.
next week, if
Alright.
you guys are going to be in Kansas City, we will be there. Other than that, come and get your sturgeon gear. It's sturgeon season. They got plenty of rods for the old sturgeonettes here. What else?
Get your
Found a good
flicker
agate
shads.
today.
Oh yeah, where is
Flicker
it?
shads
see
for
it?
fall
Yeah.
Oh,
bass.
yeah.
Put it on
I
the
gotta
camera.
go.
You
This
better show
podcast has
everyone.
gone to agates.
No, Luke or Dan, you got to see it. Wait, we already showed you.
But
Didn't
I'm
we?
a construction worker. I find those things like they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah,
You're not, Dan.
bet. Bet. You got a mason jar full of them?
Yeah.
Oh, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's a sweet one.
Bullseye.
Yeah,
And it was just sitting there, like
Mhm.
waiting
Oh, yeah.
to be picked up.
yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I wish I could see aggregate piles when I'm at work.
Right?
Yeah, Dan's over
Jealous.
here.
I,
Acting all
I sit on
cool.
my lunchbox and just stare at a pile
All
of
right,
rocks.
Yeah,
all
that's what
right,
I would
all
do.
right, all
I do.
right.
I don't blame
Then
you.
I take my water and I spray it
Should
down.
probably give
so
them
they're
to
easier
us.
find.
We'll take care of them.
Yeah.
I give them to my niece.
Oh, well, we're trying to make a table,
Ooh.
Yeah.
epoxy with all
Filled with
agate.
agate.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Alright,
That'd
I'm
be
in.
pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Be-
bring us some.
No, I'll tell you where we're building pools. You can go there.
Yes,
We do the concrete.
that's what we need.
Actually,
We need that.
No, what you got to do is so when we build them up north,
You better do
and
that.
then all the rocks come from
That's
Superior.
Yeah,
That's when you get the rocks.
That's a
Yeah.
good.
Like that, you can see them coming off the truck.
road trip.
That is a great idea. Just don't do it on Wednesdays.
Maybe it
Hey,
will
we
be.
were
Maybe
early
it won't.
today.
No podcast next Wednesday, guys.
No podcast. No.
Nope, we're gonna go to. We're
I'm
going to
gonna be real
Kansas
busy.
City. We're gonna leave
We're gonna do a
Thursday.
big show there, right?
What's that?
Doing a big show.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Well, we're leaving Thursday
Okay. Okay.
because
When
it
are
starts
you
early
leaving?
Friday,
Friday.
Well, the thing starts at
It's
9
Friday
on
morning.
Friday.
Oh.
We gotta leave it Thursday.
and it's
night.
a 6-hour drive. So,
Yeah. Well,
but thank you guys so much for tuning in. It was a blast having Corey on here
It was.
and I'm seeing creek chubs or something
Dude,
try to
was
jump
that a
out of the
creek
tank.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw
Or
one jump
shiners.
up earlier.
But thank you guys so much, and we will see you 2 Wednesdays from now. Unless you're at the Catfish Conference, you will see us live actually from the conference if you're on the weekend. So
yeah.
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Say it, Carver Fishing. Old Carver Fishing Podcast. Danny Two
Or-
Cats buy
or
a
the-
beer. Bye.
See you guys.